Hi guys, this is Ananya and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about all the books that I read in April and May. So I know I haven't been posting videos in a while, but I had my exams in April and then I just kind of got really distracted with other things and it did not happen. But now I'm back on YouTube. So as I said before, I had exams in April and that's why I only managed to read one book in the month of April, and I read five books in the month of May. Before we go any further, I have an announcement to make. I got a job, and for that reason, I will be relocating from Kolkata to Mumbai. So, tomorrow is my flight. I leave for Hyderabad. I have my training there for 2 days, and then from Hyderabad, I'll go straight to Mumbai. So I have decided to do a new segment where I explore Mumbai and I film my experiences in the new city. I am pretty excited to do that and I hope you guys will like it too. So let's jump right back to the one book that I read in the month of April. So the one book that I read in the month of April was Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. It is part of a duology called Letters of Enchantment. So this is about two journalists, Roman and Iris, who work at the same newspaper. They are rivals in the sense that they are competing for the same position. They want to get a permanent position at the office, and they are constantly bickering with each other because of that. So there is a war which is being fought by two different gods, and a lot of people are dying, yet the city where they live, that entire city refuses to acknowledge the war. Their newspaper refuses to acknowledge the war, and Iris's older brother, he enlisted in that war, but she has not been able to communicate with him. So what she really wants is to find her brother. She wants to go after her brother, and she is not getting a chance to do that. So she joins the rival newspaper and she goes to the war front and reports from there. So, a war between two ancient gods, that sounds really interesting, right? And at first, while I was reading it, I really found it interesting. The story had a lot of potential. The character of Iris was okay, I guess. Roman was better, and this is supposed to be an enemies to lovers story, but I couldn't see like the enmity part. They were not enemies at all. Like both of them were attracted to each other, and they were basically in love. So I do not get the enemies part except the light bickering. The war took a backseat when it came to their romance. And I thought there would be a lot of mythology behind it, a lot of backstory between these two gods, but that really got sidetracked. So the premise is that Iris used to write letters to her brother and she used to slide that under her wardrobe door. And when she opened it in the morning, the letter was gone. So she somehow thought that those letters were being delivered to her brother, until one day she gets a reply back which tells her that it is not her brother who's replying. So she starts writing letters to this unknown person and she falls in love with that person. I won't give any spoilers, but I will tell you that this book was extremely disappointing. I had heard really great things about this book and I was very excited to read it. But it just didn't work for me. It took me almost a month to finish it because I just didn't feel like reading it. The first half, no, the first half of the first half was really good. I was invested in the story, but it really got boring. Then it started dragging on, and I was just bored. The element of fantasy that was so undercooked. When I'm reading a good fantasy, I want world building, I want character development, And this book had none of that. It was literally about two teenagers being in love and probably making really stupid decisions. But yeah, I didn't even like the love story that much. So yeah, this wasn't a great read for me. I took an entire month to finish it. I was determined to finish it because I thought it would get better, but it didn't. So yeah, I am not going to read the second part of this. So I rate this book a 2 out of 5. Now we move on to the month of May. And something happened to me in the month of May because I read a lot of non-fiction, and that doesn't happen usually. I don't like to read non-fiction, but I found myself enjoying it quite a bit. Yeah, so it was strange, but I think I like non-fiction now, and I would like to read more non-fictions that is not just self-help books. And honestly, I would really love some recommendations. So if you have some recommendations, put them down below in the comment box. I will check it out. So the first book that I read in the month of May was The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. um, since I will be starting a job now, I wanted to know everything there is to know about money and personal finance. But you see, this book was not about that. This is about the psychology of money, like your own thoughts about money. It doesn't teach you how to earn money or how to invest money. It teaches you how to think about money, and it forces you to reflect on what you've been taught about money from your own experiences and from people around you, and why it is important to do so. Because a lot of people have this negative mindset about money, that money is inherently bad. You need to do some bad things to earn money, something like that. So yeah, of course, like all the self-help books, I found this to be a little bit stretched out, but overall it was a good book, because I learned a lot of things from it. The first and the very important lesson that stuck with me was people act from their own experiences. So for example, how you think about money and how you spend money, or even how you save money, that comes from your experience with that money. Everything that you've been taught, everything that you've experienced, that is how you will treat money. Someone who grew up in poverty will think about money in a different way than someone who was brought up with a lavish lifestyle. The second thing I learned is loss and risk are the two sides of the same coin. So you have to factor both while making an investment. Luck and risk, they walk hand in hand. So it's always important to have a plan B. It's always good to calculate all the risks. Again, a very important thing that I learned from here is, if you're buying a car, let's say you're buying a Mercedes, you may feel, wow, I'm buying a Mercedes. And maybe it costed you, let's say, 80 lakhs. And you will think that, wow, other people are going to see my car, and I own a Mercedes. But when you buy a Mercedes, you're just 80 lakhs poorer now. And according to the author, we desire stuff because we want to show it off to our neighbors. It's not your inherent desire, it's what you want to show around you. And the author said that whenever I look at a luxury car, my instant thought is, I want to own that car. He never really thinks about the owner of the car, he desires that stuff. So when you own an expensive thing, people are going to look at that thing only. They're not going to think about who is owning that. I think the psychology of money is a must read for everyone out there. It's a bit stretched out, and sometimes you might feel that this is all generic stuff. Like, you're supposed to know all this stuff. But the thing is, we know this stuff, but we don't really act upon it. In fact, all the self-help books that I've read, whenever I read them, I just feel, okay, I've heard this advice before. But the thing is, you're not really following that simple advice. We want something that will change our lives like that. We are all looking for the big thing, but there is no big thing. It's the little things that count. So the second book that I read in May is Dopamine Detox. It's a really short book that I got on Kindle. So the Dopamine Detox is about how we are constantly trying to reward ourselves, but we only think of short term goals. Like, these days people don't have the patience to get bored. We constantly want to be stimulated, so we scroll our phones, we watch movies. We need that constantly, and that kind of keeps you in a loop. You constantly keep doing that, but the effects, the joy you feel after watching a movie or scrolling reels, it's very short lived, and your brain keeps craving more. So this is a book that exposes you to the danger of overstimulation. It basically tells you that sometimes you need to switch off your phone, go on a walk, even without listening to music. You should actually try and get bored, because overstimulation is bad for you. It's a short book, but I really enjoyed reading this one. It's something that I am trying to practice in my own life, um, which is, of course, limiting my phone usage. The third book that I read in May is All the Other Mothers Hate Me by Sarah Harmon. So this book is about a single mother. Her child gets bullied, and the child who bullies that child suddenly goes missing while they were on a field trip. And of course, her son is now a suspect because of their history together and because they were last seen together. Even the mother is somewhat suspicious of her son because he's a bit different from other kids. The characters in this book are very unlikable, because the mother, she's a single mother. She has not grown up to be a mother. She constantly keeps making the wrong choices. She drinks too much. Even though she loves her son, she is sometimes not the perfect mother to him. But what she wants is to save her son. So she teams up with a fellow mother, and together they try and solve the mystery of what happened to that boy. So let me tell you that the twist was quite unpredictable. I enjoyed reading this one, even though the main character was absolutely unbearable. I really liked the friendship between the two mothers. Somehow they really made each other better. Even though Florence was very unreliable, uh, I cannot deny that she was a good mother, even though she made some very questionable choices throughout the book. And I think if Sarah Harmon decides to make this into a series, then I think I'd really enjoy reading these books. And I really think that these two women could be good detectives. If you're someone who really likes mystery, drama, and unlikable characters as protagonists, then you should definitely read this one. All the Other Mothers Hate Me was a 4-star read for me. And it's something you can read in a weekend. So the fourth book that I read was a short story called The Meek One by Fyodor Dostoevsky. It is about a couple. The wife commits suicide and the husband cannot figure out why. But it was her husband whose actions made her commit suicide. So it's one of those books that will make you think after you finish reading it. And after I finished reading it, I really wanted to talk to someone about it, because it's sad, it's tragic, but it also leaves behind so much that you constantly want to think about what happened here. Like, you want to blame the husband, of course, and yes, he's to be blamed, of course, But still, there are those tiny things that really tug at your mind, like, because from the very beginning you see that this is a pair that's destined to fail. um, you want to blame the husband, but you also can't deny the fact that he actually loved her wife. And maybe I will go into more details in another video. This one was, I think, my first glimpse into Russian literature. I wish to read more Russian literature like Crime and War and Anna Karenina. But yeah, soon I will. Those books are quite intimidating to read actually, but hopefully soon. Yeah, this book was a 5 on 5 for me. It was great. I loved it. It was sad, it was tragic, but still it was a 5-star read for me. So the last book I read in May is Think Faster, Talk Smarter. This is a self help book, of course. So, when you're asked to speak all of a sudden, impromptu, but you kind of freeze up because you are afraid to be judged. And that's what this book is about. So, I am someone who gets nervous while speaking in front of people. So that is the reason I picked this book up. I'm going to be starting a job, and that means that I am going to have to talk to people, and I can't always be prepared. So, yeah. And I'd say this book helped me. I mean, theoretically, yes. Practically, I don't know. Let's see. What it tells you is you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. Basically, you just have to strive to be average, and that is good enough. That is actually more than good enough. You expect that people are judging you, but they're really not. So it's really important to remember that. And what I think really clicked with me was that he tells you to calm down, take deep breaths, and just be there in the moment. Shuffle a little bit, walk when you're getting that crazy fight or flight rush, and that will help you. And I think sometimes when you slow yourself down and when you really focus on something and just remind yourself that the other noise don't matter, that is really helpful. So this one was an advice that I personally really loved, and something that I would be practicing for myself. So that is it for today. This was my book wrap. To know what you guys read in the month of May, and if you've read any of the books I mentioned and how you like them. I will see you guys again next time, sooner than you might think. And next time, I think I will be coming in from maybe Hyderabad or Mumbai. This one was my last video in Kolkata, at least for a few months now. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.